The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, is brought to you by, well, of course, you. If you want to learn more about how you can support the show, go to patreon.com/thearena_podcast.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. This is episode 70. I'm your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burly of Burly Gaming on Twitch and Turn-Based Carl. Burly, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I slept over 8 hours, so it was nice to just actually get that amount of sleep for once.
8 hours, awesome.
And just looking at the weather right now, It's like, yeah, I'm not going outside. It's minus 23 today.
Oh, jeez, another one. So like I was telling you during the morning shows, it's like, get that treadmill in there.
I actually bought
room there.
I actually bought an exercise bike yesterday.
Oh, nice.
I ordered on Amazon, and mid next week, I think it ships. So
okay. And Carl, how you doing, man?
Oh, you know, it's a pretty good week to be an Xbox fan, right?
Yeah, yes, indeedy. And of course, we're going to talk about that, of course. And just like all the other content creators out there, we're going to be talking about the Xbox Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard in this episode. So basically, our weekly news beat and topic of the show are combining in this episode 70 edition of the Arena Multi-Platform Gaming News Podcast. Yes, this is a multi-platform gaming news podcast, but today we are focused on Xbox, baby. I mean, I
think we'll mention PlayStation, right?
A little. And
I don't know about Nintendo. Yeah. They're not in this.
Yeah, Nintendo is they're taking this episode off because next week, obviously, with Burly and Pokemon Legends Arceus, we got a lot to talk about next week, probably. So,
they do, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, Microsoft is front and center in this episode. We're going to be talking about the acquisition and the, for example, future implications of this acquisition. And of course, as Carl said, PlayStation will have a little bit to do with this, like their reaction to the acquisition and what it means for PlayStation as well. So we're going to be talking about that. And then, of course, our new game releases and everything else that we generally talk about. But this is a huge news episode for Microsoft. So, but before we get into all of that and what we have been playing this past week, here's a brief word about where you can find the podcast.
Before the crew discuss what they've been playing, this episode of The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, and the post-show, in audio and video formats, will be going to Patreon in early access for one day after recording. So if you would like to support the show and become a patron at the entry Tier 1 level at $1 per month and get early access to every episode and post-show in audio and video formats, as well as watch or listen ad-free, please visit patreon.com/thearena_podcast for further details. Weekly on Sundays, the podcast will be uploaded to all free podcast services. Weekly on Wednesdays for the post-show, where you can find us on any podcast app for iOS or Android, Spotify, Amazon Music, and in video format on our YouTube channel, The Arena Productions. For the audio version, just download your favorite podcast app or open Spotify and search for The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. Subscribe, follow us, post a review, and leave us questions, comments, and feedback if you like, if that feature is available there, and spread the word about the podcast. We also have a Discord called The Arena Podcast, where you can join and chat with the Arena Podcast community, and the podcast website is at thearenapodcast.podbean.com, where you can follow us and leave questions and comments as well. Finally, you can also follow us on Twitter at the Arena AMPGNP as well as on Instagram at @thearena_podcast. Now, back to the show.
Okay, guys, let me start. I finished the game called The Gunk that was on that's on Game Pass. The Gunk is a fun game to play, but I have to say there's no replay value to this game, I think. It takes about 5 or 6 hours to complete the main story. It's a fun little AA game. It's a fun little indie. I mean, it's like two teenage girls on a spaceship going to a planet where I said in the previous episode, I think it was last week, that most of the planet is infested with this type of bacteria that's affecting all of the botanical life on the planet. And so the one girl is going around and she has this kind of like a vacuum that's connected to her hand, and she uses that to suck up the gunk. And she runs into this alien species throughout the story and tries to help this alien species free their people. So that's all I'm going to say about it. But yeah, it's a fun little game. There's a couple of boss battles, and there's one main boss battle at the end of the game, but it's very easy. There's no difficulty spikes. You cannot even adjust the difficulty level in this game. So I mean, it's pretty easy. The battles, the combat. It's just these little creatures coming at you, and you just throw them around, and it knocks them out. So basically, you're cleaning up the gunk most of the game to like free passageways so you can go through them, or to get things like machines starting up again. So yeah, I mean, there's no replay value. I think once you finish the story, I think it's one and done for this game. So I played the gunk, and I also started Nobody Saves the World, which is also on Game Pass. And it's interesting. It kind of reminds me of Don't Starve. I mean, the artistic style of this game and all. It's very colorful. I've only put about an hour and a half into it. I started as a little person, but then I ended up, you can change your character to a rat, and you can get through these little corridors, and you have to get stars to be able to advance through different levels of the game. So to get through doors. So that's where I'm at now. And one thing for Burly, because Burly's been streaming Horizon Zero Dawn in preparation for Horizon Forbidden West. So I just felt like, man, I got to get back into this too. So from last night, I went back to the DLC, The Frozen Wilds, for Horizon Zero Dawn. And I've been playing, I started playing that again because I want to get everything up to date when it comes to the knowledge of the mechanics and everything with the controller, so that when Horizon Forbidden West comes out on the 18th, I'll be ready to jump right in. So thank you so much, Burly, for playing that and streaming it, and motivating me to get back into Horizon again, because it's been like almost 2 years since I actually played the game. So yeah, and I downloaded it onto my PS5 from my PS4 Pro, and it runs really well, and it's very beautiful. So yeah, so that's what I've been playing. Burly, what have you been playing, man? Besides Horizon Zero Dawn, of course.
Well, I was going to say, Horizon, we just finished the story. I've just gone into Frozen Wilds, which I've never played before, because PlayStation had given away the complete edition. I only had the base game. So it's been nice going back to that. The other game has been Persona 5 Strikers. I've been streaming that. That's just a blast.
Yeah.
That game, that soundtrack. Like, I don't know, it because both came out last year. I don't know if it might be better than Guardians, I'm thinking. And it's sad that didn't get brought up, because it's a Japanese action RPG, whereas Guardian was...
What, is it music from Persona 5?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of music is from Persona 5, but it does have its own music.
So that's probably why. Yeah.
Yeah. But I've also been playing Judgment. I've knocked out another 2 chapters. Story is really getting
Awesome.
good. Yagami's
Yes,
dead,
yes.
and it's all up to Kaido now.
Oh,
Or I
shut
may be
up,
play-
Burly.
I think I'm playing the wrong game.
Actually, we're going to be talking about Yagami later, just very briefly, because of course tonight,
Nani?
or in this, Nani, yes, in this episode, we're going to be mostly talking about Microsoft, but we will throw in a brief little 5-minute, story about what's going on with Yagami and Judgment, and Lost Judgment. So we'll talk about that. Okay, so Carl, what have you been playing, man?
Yeah. Oh, quick thing on Horizon, since you guys both kind of played it recently. I'm just curious, as far as the story goes, when I think about the second one coming up, I'm like, without that sort of mystery of how this world came to be and learning about that past or where that came from.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder, is the second one's story going to be as interesting if it's just going to focus on the current world?
That's a good question, and I don't think they're going to address that. I mean, you're going to have to play through the main story to find out. I know that what is his name? Burly Silence.
Yeah,
he's also in the second game in Forbidden West. So, yeah.
Well, which character was that? I'm trying to.
He was the guy that he taught Aloy a few things. He was the one that taught her about and talked to her through the focus.
Oh, okay.
Got
it.
Yeah. They're setting him up because there's the whole thing with the spoilers. But for the ending of the first game, after you beat the credits, you see him going to Hades, I think it is, or one of those big machines like that. And then it seems like he set this up for Aloy to take it down so he can gain something and get something himself. So now, and then with the trailer, it's showing him being his shady self. So they're one of my moderators and viewers, Z, thinks this guy's a boss in the sequel. You're going to fight Silence.
We shall see. And of course, on our Thursday edition, last Thursday on the morning show, we showed the story trailer. Probably the final trailer that's going to be coming out for Forbidden West.
Oh, yeah.
So,
they just actually added some gameplay they showed out of the spear. Okay. Sony was tweeting out of different moves you can do with the spear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm done. I'm done with any more trailers and things like that. I just want to jump into it now. Right. Yeah. So I'm ready.
I kind of didn't need anything. I was the first thing I saw, I'm like, all right, I'll play it. I mean, the first one. Well, I don't need to know anymore.
Are you going to play it on PS4, Carl? Did you make your mind up?
I want to wait. Because I don't want to. I don't want to play 30 frames per second and I don't know. We'll see.
You don't want to hear from me and Expat being like, oh, this runs so fast with the SSD and the PS5, triggers, the extra trigger stuff with the bow.
Yeah. I don't need the trigger stuff. All right, so I'm still playing Dead Space 3.
Okay.
I really love this game. I'm surprised that people look at this as a lesser of the trilogy, because I see it as in some ways the best because they've improved on so many things.
Well, Carl, I think the reason why a lot of people didn't like it as much as 1 and 2 is, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Dead Space 3 has multiplayer elements to it as well, right?
It has co-op.
Okay, co-op. That's right. Yeah. So,
which
I think that's
would
what
be awesome.
People, right? But I think that's what people were turned off to. That wasn't in the first 2 games.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But anyway,
I think this game would be a blast to play with someone else. I haven't tried that, obviously.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I could see why people wouldn't like, because there are microtransactions in this game. And I see them there, and obviously I can easily avoid them, and I'm playing it many years later. I don't even know if you could even buy some of this stuff now. You might. It's on the 360 store. But I look at that and I'm like, yeah, that would definitely, it's an early example of what not to do with microtransactions, a game that shouldn't really have them. I mean, it looks like you can buy different suits, and it looks like you can spend to get resources and stuff in the game to upgrade stuff. Basically, just kind of it's almost like cheats, paying money for cheats, XP boosts.
Yeah.
And you see that in the game, and it does like make you question the way you're going to play the game, because you think like, oh, I could buy this crap. Like, what does that mean for how I'm supposed to actually like naturally progress in the game? But if you just ignore it, like, yeah, you have to ignore it if you don't think it, which I don't really think about it. You do get progress naturally as you would in any of the games. So it is a stupid thing to put there, but yeah. Anyway, you're really enjoying it. I mean, like, you know, it's got all the aspects of like a wild, like Uncharted sort of like adventure, like crazy stuff's happening in this game. Like just like cool, like looking set piece, you know, like scenes happening that didn't really happen in the first game. Now I'm actually on a planet now in this part of the game, and I'm like, that's awesome. You give me something new, you know, instead of just being inside weird corridors all the time.
Right, like being on a ship. Yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I didn't talk about Wilder Myth, another game I've been playing on PC. It's like an indie game. I got on Steam, and it came out last year, I think around June or July.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a turn-based, you know, strategy sort of RPG thing.
Why
the twist
am I
on
not
this
surprised?
game, yes, of course, I gotta like, you know,
Yeah.
keep it up. I can't
Yeah.
not put it.
Yeah.
The twist on this game is that like there's like a legacy of your characters, and they age over time as you play the game, and they can have children, and then you can play as their children, and then as you play later on, your characters will get old enough to retire, and then you're no longer playable, but they will be in the world still, and you can interact, and you might run into them at a certain point, and they might help you or do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't done a lot of there is a procedural generated aspect of this game. It's like there are sort of like story modules in a way. It's almost like D&D, like playing D&D in a lot of ways. Like you pick a story module and you play through that adventure, and there are sort of random aspects that can happen in it, but there's a main storyline to follow. Okay. And there's segments, and there's like a 3 or a 5 segmented story. And after every one of the segments, 10 years passes. And then within that time, you do some upgrades and stuff, and your characters, things might happen to them. And you can get like all kinds of weird transformations on your characters. Like you can make a lot of choices that might end up with something weird. Like you end up with like, you know, like bat wings or a tail, or, you know, fire spirit, like arm, like your arm is like flaming or something. All kinds of weird stuff that can happen that like progresses also over time. So like you can transform fully into some weird monstery thing as one of your playable characters. And it's interesting. I want to play, like I've played a lot, but like it also takes a lot of time to get to the point where your characters are retired, unless you keep using them. But I've like jumped into different characters. It's cool. It's interesting. Difficulty wise, it starts off really easy. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel like a challenge at all. But then I just got to a point where like the thing with this game is that every time you fight, the enemies can potentially get stronger, and it's displayed in like cards, and the cards say like this enemy will have a +1 to armor, or more health, or, you know, there's an upgraded version, and you can use your legacy points that you earn to stop those upgrades, but there's a certain amount that you can't do anything to. And if you let them build up, and the more time you take trying to stop or finish a quest, that increases. So like I'm at a point where I'm like on the 5-run story, and I'm like, oh damn, now I can see it's actually hard. Like I've been overwhelmed. Like there's just too many enemies that are too strong. You could retreat too. So it's interesting. It gets interesting. I like it.
Awesome. All right. So before we get into the gist of the episode, of course, with the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard, want to say that this episode of the Arena Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast will go up in early access in audio and video format to our Patreon at patreon.com/thearena_podcast. And then after the first day, it will go public, and the audio version will go to free podcast services. So wherever you download your podcasts, you can get it there, or in video format on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thearenaproductions. Okay, guys, it's time to start what's probably I don't know if you guys will agree with this, but this is probably going to be the biggest news story of 2022. Most likely, just as the Bethesda acquisition by Microsoft was probably one of the biggest stories of 2021. Some are saying that this story could be like one of the biggest of the past decade when it comes to, this type of, story. This type of acquisition is huge. The first thing I want to ask you guys, what were you doing when you heard the news about this acquisition? I can say I can vouch for Burly here on this. Burly and we had just finished the morning show, and about 20 minutes later, the news dropped, and we were on Discord, and it's like, it's like, it's just as we finished the morning show, of course, and you can see our morning shows Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitter at The Arena, AMPGMP on Twitter, and on Twitch and on YouTube. And boy, man, we were surprised. And, it's like, why couldn't you just have broken the news like an hour earlier? But so Carl, I'll start with you. Where were you? What were you doing when the news broke?
Nothing really special. I mean, like that time of day for me is always like, early baby duties, changing diapers and, getting bottle ready and whatnot. So I'm not really, I saw actually in the Discord, someone in the Discord put up a thing, the earliest news of it, which wasn't an official, but it was from someone, was it like Washington Post or no Wall Street Journal, I think, or something.
Wall Street Journal, because they had posted, because they had seen, I think it was on Twitter. What's that? Jason Schreier. Jason Schreier.
Yeah, Jason Schreier. Bloomberg. Yes.
Yeah, he had tweeted it out.
He's not Wall Street Journal, so
no, but he tweeted out saying it was on the Wall Street Journal. So I threw it in the Discord.
Yeah.
And then but the thing is, like, you can't read anything on the Wall Street Journal without paying. They're like, you go to our website, you must pay $1 just to see the logo, then $5 to see the article name. That's like, and then I think
it was one of those
everyone else reported.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know the time difference, but it was one of those things where I looked at that and I was like, all right, I guess that hey, this could be true. But I wasn't 100%. And then, of course, you saw the official stuff. And I'm like, whoa, okay, here we go. And the rest of the day was just dedicated to like looking at people's reactions,
Yeah, it's like at first I thought it was like just another one of those speculative tweets or whatever. It's like they're gonna buy Activision Blizzard. Like everybody for months and months since the Bethesda acquisition have been talking about what's next. And it's like just Activision Blizzard's one of them, but then boom, no, it's like this just in, it's official. It's like
nobody had that one on their list.
Yeah. So 68.7. I mean, let's just round it off to 70. It's like 70 billion. So obviously
let's not round up billions. That's a lot of money. I mean,
if
you want to do that, I'll take your rounding error.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Come on. I mean, so anyway, the largest acquisition now. I mean, and what's funny was like a couple of weeks earlier, I think Burly and I on the morning show, we had reported about the Take-Two acquisition of Zynga for like, what was it, 13 billion or something like that. This one just made it look like peanuts.
Something billion.
12.7 or something like that. Yeah, it just made it look like peanuts. Yeah,
which was probably the biggest acquisition gaming before that.
Right. Yeah. So So where do we start, man? I mean, obviously it's not going to go through until probably summer, like June of 2023. They're saying the deal should be finalized by then, and of course it's going to be. Go ahead.
They said that by fiscal year ending in June 2023 is when it will be done by then, which means that fiscal year starts in was it like June or July this year?
July. The reason July, I think, right?
So the reason I bring that up is just because, I mean, it could take until next year. Of course, this takes a long time. But I also think that there's a small chance that like the reason they announced this in January is because they would love this deal to have closed by the end of this year, because then this holiday season they can tote all of this Activision Blizzard IP coming to Game Pass and whatever else they can like do right away.
Yeah.
That would be a dream for them.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason why it's going to take a lot longer is because of the 68.7 billion. I mean, it's and then you've got, the regulators and everything. They have to make sure everything, there's nothing fishy about it, but I'm sure it's going to go through. I mean, it's going to happen, but I mean, it would be great for Microsoft for that to happen by the end of this year, but who knows? We shall see. But so now, I mean, all of these IP, of course, now, Call of Duty, Overwatch, Diablo, World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Candy Crush.
Man.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Hearthstone, that's a big
yes, and they have set them up so big now into the mobile space as well with this acquisition.
Absolutely.
It's amazing, So, I'll let Carl. I mean, I'll let you start with this one. I mean, of course, of the three of us, you're the biggest Xbox player here.
That's true.
Of course, you chat with us on the morning show, and Burly and I, we've been giving a lot of our, kind of like our
thoughts and feedback.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, thanks for that, Burly. Yeah, thoughts and feedback, and discussed it a lot during the morning show. But what's your take on this initial acquisition, Carl? Go for it.
So when I look at it like from a personal standpoint, as an Xbox fan and as a gamer, there actually isn't very much that I would say speaks to me right away on the surface, right? Because have I played an Activision or Blizzard game in a long time? I mean, I can't even, if I try to think back, the last one I played was probably like Spyro Trilogy, right? Like I don't really, and Blizzard, not that I don't love, some classic Blizzard stuff, but they haven't done a lot lately. And is the one problem with this whole thing is that like Activision and Blizzard is on a downward spiral at this point.
Right.
But the thing that's positive, and I think this deal is a very shrewd business deal, I think, for Microsoft. It's not like the Bethesda deal, which is sort of like a sweetheart thing for gamers, right? Like there's so many people who love so much of what Bethesda still does, right, to this day.
Yeah.
But Activision Blizzard is different because it's Call of Duty at the moment. And World of Warcraft is still going, right? Nobody loves Candy Crush. Yeah, Diablo 2 remaster just happened, which is cool, and Diablo 4 is on the way. But it's like it's almost like, when is that game ever coming? It has supposedly this year, but we know it's not coming this year.
No, I would say probably 2023. I mean,
right?
I would say 2024 more likely because of all the people dropping, people dropping and stuff.
It's possible.
Yeah. So if you look at what this deal actually does for Microsoft, I mean, it gives them, of course, Call of Duty, right? One of the biggest franchises in the world on gaming, right? And they put that on Game Pass, and that's huge. And we'll talk about exclusivity later, right? If that's going to happen. But regardless, like that's big revenue wherever they put it. If they leave it on PlayStation, they're making money off PlayStation, right? Their success is Microsoft's success on that. It gives them like this huge stable of developers. I mean, there's thousands of employees across these studios. I mean,
over 30 now. Over 30 studios. Yeah.
If you combine, I don't remember exactly the number, but if you combine all of previous Microsoft studios and Bethesda, this is almost like doubling that still. So, you can see how the implications, like what that enables Microsoft to do with development, right? Whether it's these studios are dedicated to making games of their own. A lot of these studios are support studios already for Call of Duty. So if Microsoft needs them for support on other things, they have support built into their ecosystem now, which every AAA developer uses support studios now. There's the idea also that they can get into esports big with this, because the Major League Gaming is something that people aren't talking about. It is a part of Activision as well. And from what I'm reading, like that's sort of like not doing much lately, but that doesn't mean that esports, I mean, that's probably affected a lot by COVID. I can't imagine no one's going to actual events anymore, things like that.
Yeah.
Mobile, right?
Yeah.
Getting into mobile is huge. And, you obviously King, this is the thing, like everyone's saying Microsoft is going to get into mobile big time. They just did it. I mean, King, but Hearthstone and Diablo Immortal, possibly, if that's successful, which, it may be, and there's they even have a couple other, there's a mobile studio there's another mobile studio, I think, within Activision, and then they had a mobile studio.
Well, they had the Call of Duty mobile. That makes a ton of money.
Yeah. So there's a ton that's really going to happen here that's going to benefit Microsoft as a company and what they can do, versus just the idea of like what they like this just being a big deal, right? And like Microsoft getting a lot. Like, no, there's more than just gaming as just like a exclusivity thing. Like there's more to it than that in this deal. And there's IP. There's tons of IP too. The Microsoft wants to have IP, and this gives them a vast library of like many beloved IPs over the years that Microsoft doesn't necessarily have, because they are the last one to get into this of the major three.
So now they have Crash. Now they have Spyro. They have so many.
Guitar Hero,
Guitar Hero. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, all the Blizzard stuff is beloved.
Yeah. So, and then of course there's with this acquisition, obviously, and there was another report that came out after the deal of employees at Activision Blizzard. They formed their own union as well. That's another story that came out. But I mean, with all of the negative company culture that's been going on at Activision Blizzard, and of course the discrimination and all of that, I mean, Microsoft they're gonna have a tough time. It's not gonna be easy getting in there and changing things around. Obviously, and we'll talk about this a little bit later about Bobby Kotick, but I mean, he's most likely out when the deal finalizes. I mean, that's what most are saying, that he's going to be leaving. And of course, when Phil takes over, that's probably going to happen. But I mean, getting that culture turned around and getting those that are working in Activision Blizzard to be able to do the things that they want to do and have that autonomy, in a sense, to be able to create things and not have all of that pressure put on them to get things.
It's been said that Kotick is gone when the deal closes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and obviously, like, you can't officially announce that, and maybe he could announce it if he wanted to, right? But
he sort of has.
Yeah.
Well, there's legal implications to all this stuff too.
There's an email he sent, right? Is that what you're referring to, Burly?
Yeah, he sent the email.
Yeah. I mean, look, give him credit. They got rid of Kotick. I mean, probably wasn't going to happen for a long time without this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's. I mean, we're going to be speculating about this for years, but I mean, of course, when Phil Spencer talked about, I think it was back in maybe November. I think it was when he discussed, he was really concerned, and, he was really upset about the ongoing things that were going on within Activision Blizzard. Yeah, I bet he couldn't say anything about the discussions of this acquisition, but I'm sure that they were already going on at that point.
Sure, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure that, a 70 or, $68.7 billion deal just doesn't happen overnight. So, I mean, this has probably been going on for close to a year, these, negotiations and discussions and stuff. So, for him to come out in November and say, yeah, I'm really deeply concerned about the things that are happening there. Yeah. I know you are because, you guys are going to be buying the company. So, but,
Yeah, and I definitely believe they will change the culture there.
Yeah.
Equal pay for everyone is something that Microsoft, like as far as I know, they do. I don't remember them ever being in trouble for that. Especially in recent times.
Yeah.
And other sort of like harassment things. Again, Microsoft hasn't been much of a target for any of that. We can assume that they will make that better. Now, as far as work conditions, crunch and things like that, I mean, I wouldn't say Microsoft is any much better than other places on that. I mean, they still have to do that stuff too. It's the way of the industry. Will they?
The harassment elements of it won't be there as it was with Activision.
The Bill Cosby thing will be gone.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Now, will they be friendly to unionization? That's a huge question mark because very few companies are. Especially large companies.
Yeah.
I would appreciate at best if they were to just sort of like stand aside. I wouldn't expect them to like say, yes, we support your push to form a union, but I could see them saying like, we're not going to do anything to actively dissuade union, which most companies do in America. Which is why most unions fail, is because yes, they are actively running a campaign to stop a union. Yeah. So I don't expect that from Microsoft.
No. Yeah. Okay, so before we go on with the discussion, I want to read Phil Spencer's letter, his welcoming of the incredible teams and legendary franchises of Activision Blizzard. So this is from the Xbox site, xbox.com, and from Phil Spencer, CEO of Microsoft Gaming. So kind of a new title for Phil there, CEO of Microsoft Gaming. So he says, as a team, we are on a mission to extend the joy and community of gaming to everyone on the planet. We all know that gaming is the most vibrant and dynamic form of entertainment worldwide, and we've experienced the power of social connection and friendship that gaming makes possible. As we pursue that mission, it is incredibly exciting to announce that Microsoft has agreed to acquire Activision Blizzard. Over many decades, the studios and teams that make up Activision Blizzard have earned vast wellsprings of joy and respect from billions of people all over the world. We are incredibly excited to have the chance to work with the amazing, talented, dedicated people across Activision Publishing, Blizzard Entertainment, Beenox, Demonware, Digital Legends, High Moon Studios, Infinity Ward, King, Major League Gaming, Radical Entertainment, Raven Software, Sledgehammer Games, Toys for Bob, Treyarch, and every team across Activision Blizzard. I was just about to go.
It's a lot.
Yes. Until this transition closes, Activision Blizzard and Microsoft Gaming will continue to operate independently. Once the deal is complete, the Activision Blizzard business will report to me as CEO of Microsoft Gaming. Upon close, we will offer as many Activision Blizzard games as we can within Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass, both new titles and games from Activision Blizzard's incredible catalog. So kind of exactly what they did with the Bethesda deal, basically.
Yeah.
We also announced today that Game Pass now has more than 25 million subscribers. As always, we look forward to continuing to add more value and more great games to Game Pass. The fantastic franchises across Activision Blizzard will also accelerate our plans for cloud gaming, allowing more people in more places around the world to participate in the Xbox community using phones, tablets, laptops, and other devices you already own. Activision Blizzard games are enjoyed on a variety of platforms, and we plan to continue to support these communities moving forward. As a company, Microsoft is committed to our journey for inclusion in every aspect of gaming among both employees and players. So there you go. That's the key there. We deeply value individual studio cultures. We also believe that creative success and autonomy go hand in hand with treating every person with dignity and respect. We hold all teams and all leaders to this commitment. We're looking forward to extending our culture of proactive inclusion to the great teams across Activision Blizzard. Around the world, there is no more exciting venue for fun and connection than video games, and there has never been a better time to play than right now. As we extend the joy and community of gaming to everyone, we look forward to welcoming all of our friends at Activision Blizzard to Microsoft Gaming. Awesome, letter here for those at Activision Blizzard. So kind of a sigh of relief for them, and moving forward, and they'll probably have a great place to work, as Microsoft takes over. So what are your guys' thoughts on Phil's comments there? Burly, I'll let you start on that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. Like, everything makes sense with what Phil is saying there. I think we're not surprised on any of that. I think just to go back to a little bit of what Carl was saying, I think they're just going to go in, clean up quickly, clean out Kotak, clean out a few of the problems, and then just leave it for autonomy, and then work with them. But I think they will use them. Like, they will use their knowledge and stuff, like the back ends, the other support, like support studios, to, like, if they need stuff for Halo Infinite's multiplayer to back up, you have that. You have all that stuff.
Right.
Do you know what Demonware does?
They make demons, obviously.
It's funny because, like, I'm like, what does this company Demon do? Never really heard of them. They just do netcode and matchmaking, and it's used in COD, of course.
Call of Duty, yeah.
So I can start using my aimbots into Halo Infinite on my Series S. Got it.
Is it going to be compatible across all Microsoft first-person shooters? The same aimbots?
Yeah. Can use it in Gears 5. Use it in Gears Tactics.
Yeah. Using Doom. Yeah, of course. I don't think there's. I don't think you said about autonomy. I don't know. I don't think that's happening in the way that typical with like Bethesda, right? Because Bethesda is kind of got their stuff together. I mean, they've had some missteps with like Fallout 76.
To a certain extent. I mean, to a certain extent, obviously, yeah.
But Activision, and we've already heard from Phil that he wants to bring back some old IPs,
right? Yeah.
He specifically said something that we can all like understand and attest to, is that he wants to bring back stuff that he liked from his childhood.
Yeah, he was also mentioning Guitar Hero, I think, as well. Yeah.
He mentioned King's Quest. He mentioned Hexen. There was another one, I think. Guitar Hero, yeah. All right, like you said. So, to me, it looks like, I mean, they're going to put a new head on there, obviously. They have to. And I believe what Phil will do is probably sit down with all the studios and, like, what do you want to work on? You know? Obviously,
wasn't the guy who's running Blizzard now, wasn't he with Xbox before?
Mikey Barra, yes.
Mikey Barra, yeah. I'm sure he's probably gonna stay, I think. Yeah.
Probably, unless he left Xbox with some sort of malice or animosity. But
maybe.
As far as I know, he didn't.
No,
I'll leave Xbox and go to Activision Blizzard, and I'll make the PlayStation versions better just to spite them.
And then he's back. He's like, no, I have to work on the Xbox versions again.
No, most likely it was just another good opportunity for him. So
I'm going to leave with Kotick, and we're going to start our own studio with Blackjack and Hookers and Bill Cosby.
Like, they have so many. Look, if you look at Activision, all 8 of those studios are working on Call of Duty in some aspect at this point, which is incredibly sad. So, I don't think Microsoft bought this just to get Call of Duty from Activision. It doesn't make any sense. As successful as it is, you can cut back Call of Duty. You're going to need a studio working on Warzone, of course, right?
Oh, yeah.
They have to maintain that. You're going to need
And we're going to talk
okay.
about that with
Okay.
what they have here. So
We're going to go through all the studios.
we're going to go through. We're going to just go through what Microsoft has, basically.
Yeah.
So
Please
let's
let
go
Toys
ahead
for
and
Bob's and Vicarious Vision be revived back to their glory.
Yeah. I mean, Toys for Bob, that one's the obvious one. Like, they just got put on Call of Duty support after finishing Spyro 4, and it's like, why? What are you doing? Stop.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't even get a chance to make Spyro 4. They made the Crash 4, and then helped out with Spyro.
Crash 4. That's what I meant. Yes.
Yeah.
But they and then they got roped into Diablo 2 remaster, or that was Vicarious Visions. I can't remember which one. Got roped into that.
I think that's Vicarious. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, now basically everything that Xbox has. I mean, you have the Halo franchise, obviously, with Halo Infinite that came out. You have Gears of War. You have Minecraft. And it's funny, it's like, what was it? Mojang was bought for like $2.5 billion. I mean,
right.
That's like little bits and pieces compared to this deal. So now, and then of course, they have the Hellblade, with Ninja Theory. You have State of Decay, Carl, Wasteland, Double Fine, Obsidian. I mean, and of course, with the Bethesda deal, now they've got the Fallout series, they've got Elder Scrolls, they've got Wolfenstein, they've got Doom.
My God, yeah.
Jesus. And of course, now with the Activision Blizzard deal, you got the Call of Duty series, you got Diablo, Overwatch, Warcraft, and all of the back stories or games too. The Spyro series, as we mentioned earlier, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2,
right?
Crash Bandicoot, like we talked about earlier.
Skylanders,
all of that.
Guitar Hero, right? Obviously, Hearthstone. Heroes of the Storm is the MOBA Blizzard game. Yeah. Overwatch, you can't forget Overwatch.
Yeah. And
Heroes of the Storm, it's still going. It's just not as successful, but
no, I was gonna say, like, I know it and Overwatch died in popularity. I know Overwatch is pretty much dead at this point.
True Crime is something. Of course, StarCraft. If they haven't been around a while since we've had one of those, but that's a big franchise.
Yeah,
we need more pylons.
And they got a bunch of Sierra old stuff, which to me, I'm like, I love old Sierra, like Gabriel Knight and King's Quest and Quest for Glory and what was Space Quest and Police Quest. There were so many of those old like Sierra sort of point and click adventure games. Hey, it's IP you can use.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what we think what's going to happen with Call of Duty. Which, I mean, when everybody thinks of this acquisition, the first thing they think about is Call of Duty, obviously. I mean, it's the biggest cash cow for Activision Blizzard, obviously, and now it's going to be part of Microsoft. So everybody, and I agree with this. Most people think Warzone is still going to stay multi-platform. And we're going to be talking about the multi-platform issue and with Sony later on, but do you really think Call of Duty, besides Warzone now, do you think the Call of Duty franchise will still be annualized? Or do you think Microsoft is going to want to take those three main studios and say, okay, let's make it like, say, Assassin's Creed now. Let's make it biannual. Or do you think it's still going to be an annual franchise where they churn out a Call of Duty every holiday season, and one studio has it 1 year and then they flip it, like, say, Infinity Ward has it 1 year, and then the next year it goes to Sledgehammer. I mean, what do you guys think of that, Carl? Is it still? Do you think it'll still be annualized?
No, I don't. I don't know how quickly that happens, but you have to reevaluate that situation. You can't buy all of these developers and all of these studios and just have them work on Call of Duty. Like, it's insane. As much money as that franchise makes, it's not. If you look at what Microsoft wants and likes, right? They like franchises and IPs and you, because there's so much more you can do with that. Like, you can sell, merchandising and all these other things. You can build off of a franchise, and if you're not making new franchises, you only have that one franchise. You're dependent on the popularity of that thing. And
Right.
yeah, Call of Duty's popular, but I think it's also like stale, and you've done the same thing, and people I think that popularity has peaked it's plateaued for a long time now. And you can see with this year's, if as you falter in your games, Vanguard sales, I think I saw something saying they were down like 30-something%
which is interesting, but
game.
still the number one selling game, though.
Yes, exactly. Which shows you they have so much room to actually scale back, because they'll still be selling incredible amount of these games.
Right.
So yeah, you got it. You got to do that. You got to free up some of those studios. And I guarantee if Phil went to most of those studios and asked them, what do you want to work on? They would probably be like, well, yeah, I want to do, I want to make Hexen on the id engine. Can I do that? Yes, you can.
Yeah. I'll throw a small, I'm sure you guys probably know this, but trivia question at you guys. What was the last IP that was created by Activision Blizzard?
Well, both of them we're talking about.
Well,
it's Overwatch.
It's Overwatch. That's right.
Yeah, I was going to say
Activision. What about it? Yeah.
Well, Activision Blizzard. Yeah. So Overwatch is the last IP, the newest IP that they've come out with.
Right.
So
Well, what's the newest IP from Activision? Just Activision.
I have no idea for Activision.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, Phil going in there to those studios, the Call of Duty studios, and saying, what do you want to do? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they've got a lot of ideas, but then again, they've been working on Call of Duty for so many years. Yeah. I don't know. Burly, what do you think of this? Do you think it will still be annualized?
It's going to be annualized for the next 2 years. Let's be honest. The next 2 games are in development. Let's be honest. Those will be annualized. After that, I don't think so. I think Microsoft is going to go. It's going to go the way of Assassin's Creed, where you get one every 2 to 3 years, because they constantly are not doing well with the quality. Like Black Ops Cold War, I will admit, because I played that one, the quality was actually up for that, but it's like every other one is shit. So. That's the thing. Like Vanguard, I've heard nothing good about Vanguard. And I know people that just play for the multiplayer and campaign, and they're like, yeah, this is just crap. You have Warzone. So you can keep Warzone and just add extra content to Warzone to help fill the gap where you'd normally just put your new release. So just add more seasons to Warzone, add a new map, add some new stuff there. To buy the time, because you're going to have that one studio focused on Warzone anyways, so it's much easier to add the content. And then you can take your time and do something different with Call of Duty, because that's the thing. A lot of the games are just getting samey. Like I know they tried some stuff for Advanced Warfare. People didn't like it because it went really weird, futuristic. Like Black Ops Cold War, for at least the campaign. They did something different where you filled out a perk sheet at the beginning, a psych evaluation, and you got different perks for the campaign. So like I had it.
That's cool.
I think, I think I had it where my bullets did more damage, but in the reduce of that, I took more grenade damage. I think it was, or something like that. So you made it so it was another way to just balance out the difficulty. So you could play veteran, make it a little bit easier or harder for yourself by what perks you pick in your psych evaluation and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Overwatch. Should Overwatch 2 be scrapped? What do you think? What do you think they're going to do? Yeah.
Before continue on about the annual nature, is all you got to do is look at the top video games on NPD and see that like Cold War, the previous game, was the number 2 selling game of the year.
Yeah.
To see that they don't need to do it every year. It's still, the old one is still selling. So if you make them better, they'll sell probably better and continue to sell into the next year anyway.
Oh yeah. Well, look at how Modern Warfare 2 outsold Modern Warfare 1, and because they had done such a good basis of it, and then just up the quality. Do stuff like that.
And you said that they would be annual for the next 2 years, and that is possible. But Microsoft's not afraid to delay games. So once they take over, if they look at it and it's not looking good, they could delay it.
Yeah. But you know, this year we're going to get an annual title that they can't stop that.
Well,
next year they might be able to stop.
They got no control.
Yeah, next year they might stop it, but I have a feeling by the time they start getting in and they've got to clean up other stuff, they're like, fuck.
Yeah, but by next year, they have to wait till at least halfway through the year, probably, to be able to stop anything.
Whenever it closes,
like I'm trying to say, like it's going to take them a while to clean out codec and stuff.
Let's just say June of 2023 it closes. I mean, then you'll already have that game it's pretty much ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I mean, when did the Bethesda deal close? I mean, I don't even remember, but
I can't remember.
It was it last year? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah.
I
mean, so
it was
so
announced like a year, like 9 months or so, or I don't remember.
I think it was like 6.
Yeah, I don't remember, but
so yeah, they were pretty quick to say, Starfield and Redfall, those are exclusives. Here you go.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Overwatch 2, you said, right? Overwatch 2.
Should it be scrapped?
That's one that I have no idea.
Should it just be incorporated into the first Overwatch, or are they going to go ahead and churn out Overwatch 2?
Yeah, I think I don't know enough about what they're doing with Overwatch 2, and even like the popularity of Overwatch has dwindled. Do they need to reinvigorate that with something more? I mean, maybe Overwatch 2 as it was envisioned is changed, and they put more time into it. And maybe the idea was they were going to allow Overwatch 1 players to use some of the content from Overwatch 2, right? Mm-hmm. However that worked out, like characters, I don't know.
No, what it was going to be is Overwatch 2. If you had Overwatch 1, you got all the same content. So it didn't matter. You could buy Overwatch 1 and got all the same content from Overwatch 2. So it was basically, don't buy Overwatch 2, just stick with your Overwatch 1. You got all the same stuff. So it kind of killed themselves on that announcement. Because I knew people that put like 300 hours into the first Overwatch, and they're like, so now Blizzard has not sold me on buying Overwatch 2 because there's no point. I get all the same content. Just their handling of that, and they did some, if I'm not mistaken, this is stuff I'm going off from what other people are telling me here. Blizzard did not do some stuff well with some of the leaks, the Overwatch leaks, so those tank that. So no one cares. That's the thing. Overwatch, like the numbers on it are so low, it's a dead in the water. Like Lego had made sets for Overwatch 2 that were supposed to come out by now. They're holding off because of the scandals, and I think they're also holding off because from that announcement that we saw of teaser of Overwatch 2, that's the only thing we've ever seen. We haven't seen really much, and it's like, so Overwatch 2 is just dead. I don't think there's any point. Because now Microsoft has to either come in and say, okay, we saw what Overwatch 2 is. It's a mess. Blizzard mishandled this. So we're going to redo it. And I know they promised you all this. If you own Overwatch 1, you got all this extra you got all the Overwatch 2 content. Yeah, you're not going to get that. You're going to have to buy Overwatch 2. Like my one buddy said, all this shit, all Overwatch 2 should have been is, hey, we're making the Overwatch expansion pack for $30 or whatever the cost, and just give you 5 new characters, X amount of maps, or whatever you want to do. Just include that, and then you can do that. This didn't need a second game.
They should have just done what Apex does. Just roll out a new character like every other month, like in seasons and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the problem. Like Blizzard has, been mishandling a lot of things, and you got to attribute that to Activision acquiring them and implying their philosophies of, everything Call of Duty, right? Like everything is a service, or everything is relating to this one big, large project, product. You have to reevaluate whatever Overwatch 2 is. I think the coolest thing you could maybe do is like relaunch Overwatch as a free to play, and take maybe some of the content from Overwatch 2 can be utilized in that, and then maybe make something new out of it. Like, I don't know, a hero shooter with all IP across all of Microsoft's studios. I mean, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Banjo using Kazooie as the gun.
Whatever you got. Yeah, I mean that's extreme, but yes.
Well, that was the thing. That was the thing in Banjo Tooie, wasn't it? He holds Kazooie like a gun.
Probably,
yeah.
I didn't play that.
I never played Tooie, but
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because we all want Matt. Sorry.
I was going to say, one of the things that made Overwatch so popular and it popularized was the whole loot boxes.
Right. Yeah.
So, that's the thing. Like, I think that drew them so much negative press. And it's like, do you really want to re-go into this? Like, I think I know Overwatch made them a crap ton of money for Blizzard and Activision. I think just cut your losses at this point. Because no matter what way you do this, you make Overwatch 2 or you make the expansion pack, you're going to get people that are going to call you out for what you said a year and a half ago we learned, or 2 years ago for Overwatch 2. They're going to crucify you on, you told us we're going to get all this shit for free if we owned Overwatch 1. I bought Overwatch 1 on a flash sale where I've owned it for 5 years. Why am I not getting this for free? Why do I have to pay? Because they're now going to change
really,
it.
Though, they can just flash a little get out of jail free card that they're going to get right now from Microsoft that says, "Look, we were acquired. We can, it's not our fault. Whatever we said before. I mean, new ownership, man."
Yeah. Okay.
But you think Uncle Phil is going to want to take that?
Yeah, I think he's going to want to own all of it. He's going to be like, look, because he'll be honest and upfront about it and say, look, I looked at it. It wasn't good. So we're going to, we got to make some changes. And, trust me, we're going to get there, guys. We're going to, because if you're going to continue it, he'll tell you. We're working on it. If they're not, he'll tell you,
Okay, let's move on to the exclusivity question of all of this. Now, I want to read for all of you. This was from GamesRadar.com, and it discusses the interview that Phil Spencer gave to Bloomberg when it came to the acquisition, the planned approach to the Activision games when it comes to exclusivity and multi-platform. He said, quote, this is from Phil Spencer. He says, quote, "I'll just say to players out there who are playing Activision Blizzard games on Sony's platform, it's not our intent to pull communities away from that platform, and we remain committed to that," end quote, Spencer said. Now, obviously, he said the same things about Bethesda before the Bethesda deal went through. Mm-hmm. And, of course, there's games that are going to be exclusive from Bethesda, obviously Starfield and probably the Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be exclusive as well, and then of course Sony, they reacted obviously after the acquisition. Of course they lost a ton of money. Their stocks dropped drastically the day after.
Bit of an overreaction, I'd say.
Yeah, but they said, quote, this is Sony, of course. They said, quote, "We expect that Microsoft will abide by contractual agreements and continue to ensure Activision games are multi-platform," end quote. And that was from a Sony spokesperson telling the Wall Street Journal this. Good luck with that. When these deals go through, any new stuff, just like with the Bethesda deal, I mean, pretty much Microsoft can do whatever they want with it. So let's talk about the exclusivity issue here. And let's begin, of course, as we have for most of this episode so far, about the main juxt of this acquisition when it comes to Call of Duty. is Call of Duty going to be exclusive after Microsoft takes over? I mean, I think Warzone will stay multi-platform. PlayStation will still get Warzone, but then probably by 2024, as Burly was saying, of course, this year and next year, Call of Duty games will probably be multi-platform, right? But I mean, after that, I could see the mainstream, the mainline Call of Duty games going exclusive to Xbox and being on Game Pass day one. What do you guys think? Carl, I'll start with you on that.
Okay, yeah. So Call of Duty, this is one where I think it could go either way. I think it could go 50-50 depending on how, conversations go with Sony. I think because Microsoft has a big leverage right now. This is almost like for Sony, it's like the sword of Damocles, right? It's just hanging over their head, and they're like, man, if Microsoft wants to just cut that right now and just drop that big sword on our revenue, they can do it. They will be able to do it. So they're going to. I think Microsoft's gonna say, look, we want some sort of concession from you. You gotta either whatever that may be, right? I don't know what you could potentially get. Maybe it's just so much as just an agreement, like, hey, stop this timed exclusivity nonsense, and we'll keep putting Call of Duty on your platform. That would be enough. Do they need to do it? No. Should they do it? I don't know. I don't think it matters, to be honest. The only people that will be upset will be people who will only ever play PlayStation. If you're exclusive PlayStation, you will never touch anything else, a PC or an Xbox.
I can't understand that. I can't understand how a person that calls himself a gamer would just say, I'm only going to play on one particular platform. F the others, I will never play on that particular platform. That means you are missing out on so many games and so much fun. I can't imagine how a person could think like that. That's just me. Yeah. So anyway, Burly, what do you think, man?
See, I can understand why you think it could go either way. I think what'll happen is they're going to still keep it on PlayStation. My theory is you don't pay $68.7 billion and just put everything on Game Pass easily. You still want it on PlayStation. Call of Duty sells a shit ton on PlayStation. Xbox is now going to get the exclusive content after the deal. Because I know Sony keeps signing a deal with Activision and getting all this exclusive Call of Duty content. That's going to go to Microsoft as soon as the Sony deal ends. I don't know when that deal ends. So whether it be by 2024, 2025.
Actually, I think it ends sometime this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I can quickly comment on that, if you don't mind. I think that exclusive content just disappears because I think it's worthless.
It may be worthless to you.
Don't waste your development time.
No, Microsoft would. I think they would just keep it. I think they would still keep it because it does bring an edge to them. For the few people that may not play it and be like that have both and be like, what do I buy? What do I get this on? You can also always use that as we have this exclusive map or whatever, and then Joey can go tell him and his 10 buddies, let's just go all grab this on the Series S or Series X or Game Pass it.
Well, that's the advantage though, right? It's Game Pass. You don't need any other exclusive content. I just get it on Game Pass. What do I need to play it anywhere else for? True,
but you still have people buying Halo Infinite discs for some reason. Those people were fools. Yeah. I think this
they can apply their own timed exclusivity. If they want.
Yeah, they could. They can do.
I just want to say, when it comes to the, this supposed console war type of thing, I think the console wars are dead. And
Yeah.
there was an interesting article that came out earlier this week. It's like it's not a console war anymore; it's a content war.
Yeah.
And that's what's moving forward. That's all it's going to be. You're going to see Microsoft is building up all of these studios. They purchased Bethesda. They purchased Activision Blizzard. Now they're not finished. Like you were saying, Carl, I mean, $68.7 billion, yeah, but in the total valuation of Microsoft as a company, that's only 3% of their valuation. 3%.
Wow.
So they're not finished. They're going to move on. I mean, what it could be Ubisoft next. It could be Square Enix next. Who knows? And of course, now that this has happened, Sony is like, they're like, what are we going to do? I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in the offices in Tokyo to see the executives at Sony. Like, what the hell are we going to do now? Who are we going to negotiate with to try to purchase their studios, like Square Enix or Capcom or some of the others? It's a content war now. Who's going to get the content on Game Pass? Who's going to get the content on whatever PlayStation is going to call that Spartacus thing or whatever,
Right. Yeah.
And like you were saying, I mean, and for Microsoft, they're not at war with Sony anymore. They're at war with Apple. They're at war with Amazon. They're at war with Google. And when it comes to that supposed metaverse that everybody's talking about now, and of course the cloud gaming and that area of the gaming sphere that's the future. So I mean, when it comes to exclusivity and all that, like you were saying, Carl, I agree with you. And it's like with Game Pass, just get it on Game Pass. Who's going to want to? Are you going to buy a $70 disc, or are you going to have a subscription for $15 a month? And you can get all of this content day one, plus everything else that you might not have ever tried before. Hundreds of games. And now with the Call of Duties and, with Activision Blizzard in the mix, more than hundreds of games. So, yeah. It's not a console war anymore. It's a content war.
Yeah.
And
when you look at it, though, as a content war, with Spartacus incoming, right? Like PlayStation is trying to build something similar, right?
Right.
And they have streaming as well. I mean, PS Now does streaming, right? They can be uncoupled from the console just as well. You can play PS Now on your PC, right?
Well, I think with Microsoft's architecture, that Azure architecture,
well,
I think
that deal hasn't actually come to anything yet. They said it, but there's been no news on what it actually came to.
Maybe after this, it probably won't come to.
Yeah. But so when you look at content, like I don't see any world where Call of Duty stays status quo as far as exclusivity or not, the multi-platformness, right? Like something's going to change. Whether it's, full exclusivity to Xbox, maybe not, right? Some form of exclusivity, because why would you just like continue status quo? You spend that much money, you're not just be like, yeah, okay, PlayStation, we're just gonna be nice and just give you the thing without any no changes whatsoever. Maybe there's the potential that there are exclusive Call of Duty games, right? You still get your regular, but like maybe every other year is exclusive. Who knows? Like or some sort of like spin-off Call of Duty franchise that they make that they're like, yeah, we're not giving you that, but you know, however they want to do it. Look, there's got to be something, right? That they're gonna be like, this is ours. Like we're not gonna just give you everything.
Yeah.
Unless there's some sort of, like I said, agreement, some sort of negotiation that they get something out of it on that we don't necessarily see tangible. Like who knows? Could be though.
Kind of like with the Bethesda deal. I mean, with Deathloop. I mean, Deathloop had already been, signed on as a timed exclusive for PlayStation, so they honored that, obviously. And there's probably some stuff, with Call of Duty and all that's already been contractually, agreed to. But let me throw this one at you. Not Call of Duty, but of course, Diablo 4 has been a mess. And that game might not be coming until 2024, as Burly was saying. Do you think that one will be exclusive to Xbox now?
Who wants to go? Burly, do you want to go?
That one I can see, because Diablo, they'll push on the consoles, but the thing they're gonna really push, PC. Diablo, you push for PC. You can push Game Pass for that. Call of Duty is just a separate thing. The reason, just going back to Call of Duty makes so much money on PlayStation. I can't see Microsoft wanting to give up that almost free, easy revenue, because it generates so much on PlayStation. That was just the other point I kind of wanted to get to on that. But for Diablo 4, I can't. Unless there's already a deal in place on that says that's all, like PlayStation is getting it, I could see it not coming to PlayStation. I could see it coming. It's a series or Game Pass. PC. Microsoft, and to go back to your whole content war, Microsoft is in a different market. They're about just getting you into Game Pass and playing their games on whatever device that is compatible. Sony is in your traditional console, get you in, and Nintendo,
traditional hardware mode. Yes,
and Nintendo is play our stuff and maybe some third parties, but be careful if you're buying
just
Dying
play our
Light.
Stuff.
Just play our stuff, but please, for the love of God, don't buy Dying Light or Ezio Collection on the Switch. Play it on something better. The sacrifices. There's some stuff I understand the sacrifices you're making, and then there's just some that I don't.
Yeah. I mean, with that, when it comes to like Dying Light 2, and like the Ezio Collection, I mean, people on the go or like on the train or something like that, they might want to play it, but I don't know. So, especially out here in Japan, the people commuting all the time. So, but
I think people also forget that they still want you on Xbox's storefront. I mean, because Game Pass includes, DLC you can buy, right, for those games, microtransactions you can spend on those games, and they give you discounts on purchasing the games that are on Game Pass, and that's all through the Microsoft Store. So if you don't have access to that, which you won't, if let's say, anybody who thinks that they might want to put it on PlayStation or Switch, I mean, like, that's not going to happen if Microsoft can't have their storefront in some capacity, because it's part of the service. Which is why it works on PC, because they can just put their storefronts there. If you want to buy games, you can do it.
Built into Windows.
Most people don't. Right, yeah. And most people don't. But I mean, to me, I envision one day Microsoft gunning for Steam, like, in a way. Like, right now, they're like, we'll put everything on Steam. But one day, I mean, they have so much content. Like, why do they need to be on Steam in the future? If Game Pass is as successful as it can be on PC one day, I mean, why? Why do you need to do that? And you got Blizzard's BattleNet. That's another thing. Like, you have that network, that storefront there as well. You can use that. You can expand on that network. There's so many avenues there. But back to Blizzard and Diablo, that's a tough one, because it's already announced for PS4 and Xbox One, right? It's not even a current gen. Like, there wasn't even an announcement for like PS5 or Series on that game. I mean, if it releases soon, which, I mean, maybe next year, then it's going to be on multi-platform. Like, they're not going to change that. But
if not,
if it needs to be delayed, like, because personally, like, maybe if it does, right, then the way I would look at it is like, delay it. If you're delaying it, you got to make it like next gen only or current gen only. And then at that point, why are you putting it on PlayStation? Like, then you make it exclusive. But who knows?
Yeah, and I mean, going back to Game Pass too. I mean, now that the report came out with 25 million subscribers. I mean, with Call of Duty, when Call of Duty starts coming to Game Pass day one, and you see all of those people jumping on to Game Pass to play Call of Duty, I mean, that's going to just boost Game Pass exponentially as well too. So.
It's a huge number. 25 million is a big number at this point, and it's only going to get better. I mean, because there's just big things coming, and this announcement, of course, means more, right?
Right. So let's talk a little bit about PlayStation now and what you think their possible response to this is going to be. I mean, you know, my PlayStation and you know, they're not as big of a company as Microsoft. Obviously, they're probably, their valuation is like 250 billion, I think it is, altogether, whereas, you know, Microsoft is like around 3 trillion or something like that.
Yeah.
So you're not going to see them
Yes.
making acquisitions on the lines of an Activision Blizzard type of deal. But what could you possibly see them countering and coming up with some other type of studios moving forward now? What do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think they might make Final Fantasy exclusive from now on? I mean, and like get Square Enix.
No.
Burly, what do you think? What's
They
PlayStation's
don't
next
have
move?
they don't have the money to buy Square. Let's, because I know people are thinking they'll buy Square. They don't have the money and the cash to buy Square. Square makes a shit ton of money off their franchises. But what Sony will do is they have deep in ties and good relationship with Square. They are gonna keep investing and keep working with Square. FF7 remake, that's still gonna be PlayStation only for consoles for a while. I think not till the whole game comes out in 2035. By then we should have the final part of Final Fantasy VII remake. So maybe by 2037, Carl can play it on his Xbox fridge
with his high school age daughter.
I'm good on that. Yeah, right. I played the first part. I'm good. I don't need more.
Yeah.
Now, honey, this is the cross-dressing scene. The support. Dad? No, but like, I don't know if Final Fantasy will stay. Final Fantasy has sold not bad on Xbox. It just hasn't sold the number on PlayStation. But that's just because the franchise has been, it's been tied with PlayStation, and a lot of people know it because of PlayStation, because of 7 and a lot of the other bigger other numbers.
Right.
I think they're just going to keep stuff with Square, like you have Forspoken. I think was PlayStation only.
Yeah, that's exclusive
from Square.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get more and more stuff like that from Square.
That's a two-year timed exclusive. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna double down with Square. There's no sense working with Capcom. Capcom's a lost cause. Not just because of Resident Evil 8, but like what does Capcom have? Like they're fighting stuff. There's no point in
Street Fighter's big still. Street Fighter's big.
Yeah, Street Fighter's big, but like I mean, is there a point for Sony trying to go for Capcom? I wouldn't buy with what Capcom has put out. I don't like the only benefit of buying Capcom is because Sony does own Evo now, so you could use that.
But there's a lot of Capcom IP. Resident Evil Village was huge, sold really well. Yeah. Received really well. Monster Hunter is huge.
Monster Hunter's huge, but you still get that. That's multi-platform, and like you have your Switch exclusive games. And I think one of them just came to the PC. One of the Rise games just came to PC a couple weeks back. So like Monster Hunter is huge, and there's some dormant franchises from Capcom, especially a Blue Bomber that I would love to see come back, but they who knows? They're never going to do that.
Could you see Sony going after Ubisoft? Because Ubisoft is valued at about $10 billion.
Well,
they could probably afford them.
I mean, they could. Square Enix has got to be worth less than that. So,
no, I think Square's worth more
than Ubisoft. No, what?
Dragon Quest makes a killing with the mobile shit in Japan. I have no idea. Like here, let me, because I'm talking out my ass here. So let me.
I think someone put a list out. Actually, I saw a list out there of valuations for all the major ones. So if you want to look that up, I'll talk about what I think PlayStation might do. Which is, I don't think that there is a move that they can do right to counter this. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you look at Bethesda acquisition. Again, they can't. They didn't counter that. They worked in their own way. They bought a bunch of different smaller studios.
Right.
And they're building up what they already have, which is, a number of studios that make high quality AAA games, and generally a certain style, right? Story driven or third person, whatever that they've been doing.
Right.
And I think they'll continue to buy other smaller things and continue to work with, studios, up and coming stuff. I mean, the studio that made Kenna, right? I mean, who knows? Maybe they're going to eye them, Maybe there's that Jade Raymond studio that they're working with them, Maybe Kojima, they joins them,
unless he joins Microsoft though.
Well, he might make a game for them, but
he'll make a game for them, but I think he likes being independent. Honestly, I don't think.
I think Square Enix is the best option? Yes, but again, that doesn't really counter, right? That doesn't really. You buy Square Enix, I mean, it's like, well, you are already buying all their games exclusive timed anyway.
What about Sega?
So, I don't think Sega would do that, to be honest. Yeah. Although that would be big. That'd be very big. The problem, so Sega might be okay, but they could. The problem I see with the people keep saying Square Enix and Capcom, right? Big problem with them acquiring those is Square Enix and Capcom like to make exclusive deals with Nintendo.
Yeah.
So if you do that, they won't be able to do that anymore, right? Most likely, Sony will most likely say everything is exclusive to our platform, unless they make a special deal and say you can still make Monster Hunter Rise exclusively on Switch. Like, I doubt it. Why would they do that?
Yeah. I mean, I could see Microsoft buying Square Enix because, of course, the Tomb Raider series as well as Deus Ex, those are two big series, like with Crystal Dynamics. Bringing Crystal Dynamics aboard would be amazing. That's a possibility, but yeah.
And I found the numbers. They're actually close. Ubisoft is 6, and Square is like 5.98. I thought Square was higher for some reason. My bad, but they're close. I could see Microsoft wanting to go with Square and buy Square because that would also give them a giant Japanese studio that does well both in Japan and in the West. That I could see them wanting to do, but whether or not that'll happen, I think, didn't they try? They said they've tried buying Square, or they've tried doing more work with Square.
I don't know anything about that.
I may be misremembering. I know they wanted to buy other Japanese studios, and it didn't go the way they wanted. But I thought one of them was Square.
Yeah. I don't think out here in Japan it wasn't told which companies they were, so those were undisclosed. So
yeah, and even as an Xbox gamer, at this point, I'm like, yes, Sony, buy Square, like it's fine, just do it. Because I'm tired of the bullshit. I'm just gonna say, because all this time exclusivity in this question marks of when is it coming somewhere else? Like Final Fantasy 7 Remake, it was a 1-year timed exclusivity, and that ran out, and now what? We don't know. I don't want to deal with that. Just look, if you want to have all these games exclusive, just buy it already. Okay, just tell me I have to go only to your platform, and I'll come there for it. I intend to buy the PlayStation 5 at some point, and that's where I'll play those games then. But if you're telling me that if you're leaving the opportunity out there, you might get it on Xbox, well, then I think I kind of want to wait because I don't like what you're doing. I don't like your timed exclusivity nonsense.
Yeah. Well, I guess in a perfect world, when it comes to the streaming services, like with Game Pass and whatever Spartacus is going to be, just have them all on whatever particular console you have. You pay a $15 subscription to Game Pass, like you have a PlayStation 5, and then the little icon there is for Game Pass. You can subscribe to Game Pass for $15 a month. You got Spartacus, you got Nintendo, you got all these subscription services, just like with TV, and that's.
I mean, if they want to make a deal, right? If Microsoft and Sony want to make a deal and say, "Hey, we'll give you Game Pass and you give us Spartacus," then okay, I'm cool with that. But it can't be one without the other. That's just not really going to work.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with Carl. This whole timed exclusivity, I hate it. I freaking hate it because it's everything's up in the wind, and then it's I remember when Tomb Raider
Yeah.
Rise of the Tomb Raider. That was Xbox.
Yes.
That was just so.
Xbox
It was like
exclusive for a year.
So it's like, okay, I'll wait. And then the whole thing when Sony got it, they're like, we're just coming out with the Game of the Year edition, where you get all the DLC and everything. And it's like, So I said to, like, because I knew one buddy that bought Rise of the Tomb Raider for the Xbox because he had an Xbox One. He was like, oh, I'll just buy it now. I'm like, you're better to wait because it's a timed exclusive. And then I bought Rise of the Tomb Raider for $20 when it came, because by the time it came to PlayStation, it dropped in value quite quickly. It was like $20. And I got it. I was like, just wait and you'll get it. But I'm
wondering if that's gonna happen with Deathloop when it comes.
Deathloop is just gonna be Game Pass, but like Deathloop, they're not making DLC, at least from what I remember seeing on this.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but the thing is, like, timed exclusivity works because the majority of a game's sales happens in the first year. Yeah. It's always true. I mean, obviously the exception is now your service games, right? But we're not talking about those. So yeah, I mean, that's why the incentive is there. Like, I had an Xbox, I bought Rise of the Tomb Raider right away. Why should I wait? I mean, I could if I want to get it on a sale, but then you can say that about any game. You could wait for any game to go on sale. You know? I wanted to play it right away because I love the first one, and the second one was the best in that franchise. So. Yeah, but again, that wasn't fair to Microsoft because it was a double standard. Everyone was like, "Boo, Microsoft for buying exclusivity," but PlayStation does it. They're like, "Oh, it's fine. Just don't worry, we're cool."
That's because PlayStation is good and Microsoft is evil, Carl.
Apparently, that's how it goes. PlayStation, I have the flag of evil on my chest here.
PlayStation are the Sith, and Xbox and Microsoft are the Jedi.
Wait, I thought you're saying the
Jedi aren't good. They let the Sith.
Wait, the
happen.
Jedi are bad?
Yeah, they're stealing young boys.
Carl, Burly. It's always like the Sith were right. I mean,
the Sith were right. Oh, he's one of those. Hydra was right.
Don't you remember the best Star Wars Episode 8, where Luke's explaining at the height of their order, Jedi allowed all this to happen because of their hubris?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the best.
And I know Expat just wants to lunge through his webcam and strangle me for saying Episode 8.
No.
I don't believe that. I'm just being a dick.
Yeah.
Well, it's like PlayStation's probably having the same, conversation right now. It's like, Xbox, we let them take over, It's like
well, they didn't have a way to stop this because Microsoft can just keep writing zeros to the check. Microsoft has other industries because I work in the tech industry. They're just selling of Windows, Office, and all their other software and their support. They make a killing of all that. Yeah. Sony as a company is not in a good state. PlayStation does well. Sony Pictures does okay. Everything else, dumpster fire. Like, I'm sure Sony TVs do okay in Japan, but over here, I'm never gonna buy a Sony TV.
Yeah, but they used to be great in America.
They were, yeah.
I mean, back in the 80s and the 90s, Sony was huge, but
I mean, the Walkman, the Discman, those were huge.
Oh yeah,
the Walkman did well for them,
but
But I meant like as of right now in 2022 and 2020, even 2021, everything else they owned was shit.
Sony's all about PlayStation. That's their cash cow.
Yeah.
And now it's being threatened, and it's their own doing, right? They poked the bear. They basically tried to murder Xbox, right? This is what they were doing. They saw blood in the water, and they're like, all right, we'll try to kill them with strategic, timed exclusivity and all this other, we'll try to bash them over the head with
all through the PlayStation 4 era. Yeah. All through the PlayStation 4 era. Yeah.
They tried it, and Microsoft was like, look, we got big pockets, like we can weather this storm. And now they've come through and they said, this is the way you're going to play, we're going to buy stuff, because I mean, it's not like PlayStation didn't buy stuff back in the day. The majority of their best studios are ones they purchased.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
most of them.
I was still surprised it took them so long to buy Insomniac. That was the one that was like,
yeah.
why didn't you buy these
Yeah.
guys earlier? You guys are dumb. I would have bought them when they were cheap. Now you paid
And now
a lot.
they're talking about
weird.
whether.
It's weird.
And now a lot of people are talking about whether or not Sony should buy Quantic Dream. You know,
But actually, Insomniac's interesting. It kind of goes to show you like what Sony values, because they didn't buy them until they had Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
And until they showed like, look what we can do with our third-person action and adventure story-driven thing, right? Versus like prior to that, they made really good stuff for them with Ratchet. People like Ratchet and Clank. I don't. But, it's a popular franchise. And then Resistance was also Insomniac, and those were their first-person shooters, and it's not really a normal thing, but it was a franchise that was, I think, well received. But
Resistance 2 is really underrated. I haven't played all the Resistance games.
Yeah.
I have Resistance 2. If you're looking for like your alien shooter kind of thing, first-person shooter, I highly recommend it. It is not like I think Gears 2 was way better, but that's third person. But like this was Resistance 2 just doesn't get enough. I think it had a lot of like, I like the guns, like the auger where you could shoot a little barrier and then you'd shoot through it. They had like neat stuff in the online, the multiplayer, different modes were really good. It's just no one talked about it because this was just it was a weirder thing, and because it was the early PS3 was not very good with their pricing, and Sony's those stupid TV ads with the plastic baby doll going laughing and crying. Like, I don't like Sony. Sony then Sony's made bad mistakes in the past. They'll make more bad mistakes. So has Microsoft. They're all going to do it.
Yeah, Resistance is one of those.
Yeah.
Where
I was going to say to you, I'm sorry, Carl. I just want to say to Burly, so you don't think Sony should buy Quantic Dream?
Quantic Dream, I just don't know if it's worth putting the money into Quantic Dream to buy them.
Yeah.
Like,
it seems like they only make one particular genre of game, too. I mean, with Heavy
only
Rain and with Beyond Two Souls and then Detroit,
but like,
and it's not what Sony likes,
Yeah, it's not what Sony likes, and they're not system sellers. Did any of you go buy a PS3 for Heavy Rain? Like, I haven't played most of those games, so
they're great.
Like,
they're great though.
I love those games. I have the one for PS4, the robot one. I have it. I just haven't.
Detroit, Becoming Human. Detroit.
Yeah, I played like the first hour, enjoyed, but just other stuff in life. But they're not system sellers. They're not something huge. Like, I would think they would go for who were the people that did Media Molecule, that did Dreams and all
Media
that.
Molecule.
I thought
Media Molecule.
Yeah. I always butcher that name, Molecule. I think they would go for that, but Dreams is dead. Sony let, like, I don't know what they just let that drop. That game when it came out, and then they were doing, like, the creators and all that were doing all these, like, gaming contests and stuff, and they used to have so much. I used to stream it. Now that game is just dead. Like,
Dreams. Yeah. Dreams. Okay. Look, it's not a game. That's the problem. It's not a game. It's like,
it had
is it a cool like thing? Yeah. It has like a game created specifically in that software for that to show what it can do, right? But like that, it's not a thing that you can market to the general audience. It's like trying to market like 3D Studio Max or Photoshop. Like, hey, look at the cool shit you can make in this. And like,
artists. Yeah.
And this is it's more interactive because yes, you can make games, right? But like I understand why Dreams didn't do well, but it is something they should more actively support.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know what Media Molecule is going to do now. I think I could almost see them saying like, yeah, we got to close you guys. Sorry, you didn't make any money.
Well, the thing was like they talked about Dreams. I think it was what's his name, Mark Cerny for the PS5. when the PS5 was starting to come out, or had just been announced, and it's like, oh, what you can do with Dreams on the PS5. It's like, great. I had bought Dreams on the PS4. It's like, great. Let's see what you can do with this. Never went back to it. They never pushed. They said one thing about it, and then just let that thing die. And it was like, why? You guys tout this thing as the next big thing. And I knew people, like, that was the cool thing of streaming it on Twitch, is I hear from creators that were playing it and making stuff on there, and they were like, yeah, with this, I learned by watching other stuff on here, you can do these kind of things if you sit and do this. It was cool to see what people would come up with and do, and it would have been interesting to see with what people could do on there, what Sony could learn and see and get from people on that. But no, they just never did anything with it. It's like, you guys if you would have put time and effort and pushed this a little, you could have got some good stuff. But Sony dropped the ball. Like,
okay,
Sony's in a problem of their own making. They lasted on their laurels. They can't afford to buy much. They're gonna buy your indies and double A's. I think if they're gonna buy anyone, because that's what they can afford. And indies and double A's have done well for Sony. Like Kana did. I think Kana sold well, didn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll take a look real quick if it was on their PlayStation top list.
Yeah, I know it was on some of them, but it reviewed well. Like if you have not played Kana,
really well.
play Kana.
Go for it. Yep.
Yeah.
Great game. Yeah.
If you have to sell your Series X to play it, play it. Just buy a Series
X. It's not in
S.
their top 20. It wasn't in their top 20 for the year.
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank's there.
Well, it came out.
No Returnal.
Kana came out in September, right?
Yeah, it was like September. Because it was originally supposed to be earlier in the year, but they had to push it back. And people were all scared. But then when we saw the quality and played it, you were like, oh.
Right. Well, that's probably why it wasn't in the top 20, because it came out later. So, and then it got, a few weeks later, all the bigger games started coming out. But
Returnal came out much earlier, and that's not in the top 20. So,
Returnal's a different type of game all in itself. I mean,
Returnal's too easy.
Okay.
So what's next? Do we have any more we still want to talk about with the Activision Blizzard?
Yeah.
All right.
Monopolies. Is Microsoft becoming a monopoly?
So are we going to get an Xbox versus PlayStation
We're not talking about
monopoly?
board games here. We're talking about Xbox.
So the green spaces are going to be Activision, Bethesda.
So this green monster. That's what of course, if you check out the thumbnail for this episode, the green monster. If you're a baseball fan, you'll know the reference to, of course, Fenway Park and the Green Monster. So anyway, this Green Monster is, a lot of people out there may be fearing that Microsoft and Xbox, they're becoming a monopoly now. They're just buying everything up and you're not going to have any consumer choice anymore. What do you think of that argument? What do you feel about that? Carl, I'll start with you on that.
I'm not afraid of that in this regard, because when it comes to the video game landscape, consolidation is like standard. It's just been happening for decades. And there are companies that come and go, some rise, some fall for various reasons. I mean, like Blizzard Activision Blizzard, right, is an example of kind of a bad consolidation. Like, they've been able to be successful, like financially, but it has stifled their creativity, right? But when you look at Sony, right? Sony bought all these big studios, like, they weren't big when they bought them, but Naughty Dog and Guerrilla and Sucker Punch, So those studios have made incredible things since then. So the consolidation that Sony has done has led to really great things, right? And the competition will always be there, because on any given year, there's 1,000 video games that release, maybe probably more across the various platforms, PC, console, mobile. Like there's so many video games. You will never. There will never be a time when there is not a different video game you can play if you don't like what's going on with some consolidation here or there. Competition will always exist in that industry. It's just there's just no way to really stop that, no matter how much you buy.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of this argument when it comes to the monopoly thing, I think it's very, it's all console focused. It's kind of this narrow focus of only consoles and the companies, which of course aren't that many, obviously. But I mean, you have so many games that come to one particular console, and so this narrow thinking about, well, I can't play them here, so because this company's buying everything up, I think that's a very narrow way of thinking. Like you were saying, there's thousands and thousands of games out there, and there's all these other companies that are making them. It's not only console, of course, PC, mobile as well. So, yeah. Burly, what do you think of this monopoly argument?
Yeah, it's always going to happen. You're always going to have these companies buying, like Carl said. You're not going to stop it. And if you don't like monopolies, guess what? There's a million companies that aren't owned that are publishing games on the PlayStation Store, the Xbox Store, on Steam, on Epic. That if you don't want to support, Microsoft or support Sony, you have your other ways and support other gaming companies. If you want to
or do what Carl said, if you don't like monopolies, just play the board game.
Yes, or just buy a Switch. And just that's it.
Buy a Switch.
Yeah. And the thing is, the top 3 gaming revenue companies, even after this acquisition, is number 1 Tencent, number 2 PlayStation, number 3 Xbox.
Right.
So it does. Like, when you look at it that aspect, how can you say that they're a monopoly? Even after this acquisition, they're still number 3 as far as gaming revenue, right?
Right.
If you're looking at Microsoft and what it means for a tech company to add this much, that's a different story.
Yeah. Right.
But generally speaking, if you're looking at like what the government might do, I mean, this isn't the type of thing that's going to stop. The government would stop. It would be like Microsoft buying, like, I don't know, Google, right? they would they wouldn't let that happen, right? Or even maybe Facebook is one. Like, they probably wouldn't let that happen, right? Those giants, like, letting them come together would be an absolute no-no. This is different.
Yeah. So, okay. So, I mean, this is just the beginning. I mean, I'm sure all of this year, there's going to be lots of news stories that are going to come out about what's going to be happening with particular games and how this acquisition is going to close up and when it closes and all that. So we'll be covering that all for you. Interesting stuff, man. Really looking forward to seeing how this develops over time this year and into next year, especially. So, all right. So now, one other little news story, just a little news story compared to this. Beans, like I mentioned before, beans in comparison to the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard. But anyway, this refers to the Japan side of things. In Japan, Burly, of course, he's playing Judgment, of course, which is a spinoff of the Yakuza series. And, of course, there's another game in the series now, Lost Judgment, as well. And the lead actor, of course, who plays Yagami in the Judgment games, Kimura Takuya, apparently he's going to do a live-action TV show for Judgment now. So this comes from Kotaku and Brian Ashcroft. So Japanese actor and pop star Kimura Takuya made his video game debut with Judgment, then reprised the role in its sequel, Lost Judgment. It's now being reported that there are unconfirmed plans to adapt the budding franchise into a live-action TV series. So, it looks like it's going to happen, and a movie as well. So Kimura was previously in a boy band called SMAP and has also been one of Japan's biggest TV celebrities, appearing in variety shows and popular dramas. He has starred in the movies, too, like Wong Kar-wai's 2046, and voiced Howl in the 2004 Studio Ghibli film Howl's Moving Castle. According to Japanese,
I saw that.
Yeah. According to Japanese publication Nikon Gendai, the Sega detective lawyer game is said to be the basis of a TV adaptation for Asahi TV. This has yet to be officially announced, but the show's temporary title is said to be Sabakare Zaru, meaning the unjudged. Lost Judgment's full Japanese title is Lost Judgment, Sabakare Zaru Kyoku, or Unjudged Memory. Another source tells the publication that it appears there are also plans in tandem for a movie adaptation. So, of course, Kotaku reached out to Sega for more comment, but did not hear back prior to the publication. But from this Nikon Gendai article, it looks like Kimura is also apparently involved with live-action Lost Judgment, and reportedly not interested in doing a third season of his popular crime drama, which is a drama series on TV here in Japan. So, I don't know, guys. Would you... I know you guys being in Canada and the US, you would probably not see this series, but I mean, do you think that this becoming a TV series and then adapted into a movie, do you think that means that the third Judgment game is probably going to be scrapped? I don't know. What do you think?
Interesting.
Carl, what do you think?
I just want to say that when I watched Howl's Moving Castle,
Yeah.
Christian Bale was the voice. I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, because you watched the fake version, the English dubbed version of it. That's why. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nani?
Yeah.
Nani yattendayo? Nani yattendayo, omae wa?
I haven't played Judgments. I don't know. I mean, I'd be think yeah, why not? Like, that's cool. Personally, I would love to see an American made series for Yakuza. I don't see why someone isn't like, this is an awesome franchise that would like do really well on Netflix or something like that.
Well, you already have that in Mafia, though, the Mafia games and stuff. Just make a Mafia series. You know?
Who cares about
They did.
Mafia?
It's called The Sopranos.
I don't care about them. Yeah,
The
I don't like
Sopranos.
that.
There you go.
That's trash.
Oh, the ending might be trash.
According to turn-based Carl.
It's Carl.
I offended someone. All right.
Okay, so
take Carl.
let me throw this over to you. Let me throw this over to you, Burly, because Burly, you're playing Judgment. So what do you think of this? I mean, do you think this means that Kimura Takuya might not be making a third Judgment game, and he's only going to focus on a TV series and a movie off of this character?
I think we'll still can get a Judgment 3. It shows that he's still interested in the character, in the franchise, in the world. If he's doing other parts of it, another like a TV show and a movie, so that's a good sign. I would take that as a good sign because he still wants to be Yagami. Johnny, this just may inflate the cost up for Sega. Now being like, well, he did the TV show, it was a hit in Japan, and the movie did well in Japan.
And the studio, Ryuga Gotoku Studio, they've already mentioned that they are going to continue pursuing the Judgment series. I mean, along with Yakuza 8. So whether or not Kimura Takuya is going to be in it moving forward, we don't know, but I hope so. Yeah,
I'm sure he will. I think this means Judgment 3 might be a while out because they've got to do
the
stuff,
TV
series and all that. So, which is fine.
Yeah.
They just released Lost Judgment last year in September, so take your time. I don't need. I'm not one of these guys. I need yearly sequels or a sequel every 2 years. You give me a good game every couple of years in the series, I'm happy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, kind of like Yakuza 7. I mean, Yakuza 7 came out 2020, I think. I don't remember exactly. So it's like it'll be like 2 to 3 years before or between Yakuza 7, Yakuza 8. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if they do a TV show for Yakuza and they base it off 7, are we going to see like the little menus for the turn base that they're going to do?
Yes. I mean, it would be fun actually to do something like that. It's very like it's very like stylized, sort of like meta looking show where like they reference the gamification of it. But I doubt they would do that. Think of like, okay, have either of you seen Warrior? It's a TV show.
Warrior.
No, I've heard of it.
Warrior. It's fantastic. It's on HBO Max now. It was originally a Cinemax, I think, production, but they have since purchased they are now running that show. They're going to continue it. And it is basically Yakuza, but like it's Chinese gangs, and it's historical. It takes place like in I don't know the year, the time period, but it takes place like earlier time period than it's not present day.
Okay.
It's fantastic. Like that's the type of show that I'm thinking of. Like when I think Yakuza has that potential to do something like that.
Okay.
Check it out. You guys would like it then. If you like Yakuza or Lost Judgment, like this is a really good show.
Yeah. I'm writing it down
Carl,
right now.
Stop watching Japanese anime in English. Stop watching the dubbed versions.
Why, man? I just want to make life easier for myself.
Hey, some dubs are good.
All right.
Hey, you can't judge one dub and say it's bad, so they're all bad.
All right. I'll make you feel better. I did just watch Attack on Titan, like the final season first 2 episodes of the second part of the final season, and I'm watching it in Japanese because I don't have a choice.
Nice.
Unless I wait, and I don't want to wait.
Yeah.
So
okay. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to our new game releases for the week of January 24th through the 30th. So, and of course, you can see all of these games that are being released on releases.com. So the three of us, of course, are going to give our picks of the week. And my pick of the week is Uncharted, The Legacy of Thieves Collection. Comes out on January 28th on PlayStation 5. So let me go ahead and read this for you. This remastered bundle includes Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, featuring Nathan Drake as he hunts for Captain Avery's long-lost treasure, setting off for one final, far-flung adventure across the jungles of Madagascar to long-lost pirate colony of Libertalia. It also includes Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, which chronicles Chloe Frazier's breakout exploits as she moves from frenemy to hero, enlisting the assistance of renowned mercenary Nadine Ross. Chloe ventures to India's western Ghats to locate the golden tusk of Ganesh. So yeah, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, or Legacy of Thieves Collection, coming out on the 28th on PS5. Really looking forward to that. Excited. I loved Uncharted 4. It was a great game. Of course, my favorite in the entire Uncharted series is 2. But 4 was a close second for me. I loved Uncharted 4. And the Lost Legacy is a great, maybe 8 to 10 hour adventure. So, that's my pick of the week. Burly, what's your pick of this week?
My pick of the week, this should surprise no one. It's Pokemon Legends Arceus, coming out Friday, January 28th. Only to the Switch, because it's the true platform. Unlike you Xbox and Sony curious. Nintendo's been around longer.
The true platform. Okay.
They definitely have.
Yes.
Yeah. The Pokemon Legends Arceus game honors past Pokemon games' core gameplay while infusing new action and RPG elements. Releases.com does not have a long bio for this, but this is the first time you're going out in more wild areas, and Pokemon can attack you, the trainer, and stuff. It's showing, so they're doing stuff different. And this is the game set.
They
in
can
the past
kill you.
Yes, yes, man. Well, if you want to know dark stuff, go read Pokedex entries of Pokemon. Some of them will creep you out, and it's like these are actually in games for kids. It's weird.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but this is going to be a different game and doing stuff different, and this is the region that would be known as Sinnoh. So people were wondering why we were getting the Diamond and Pearl remakes last year. This is why, because that was the remake are of Sinnoh, the region that this game is going to be taking place in.
Cool. Right. Carl, what's your pick of the week?
Oh, this may be a spoiler for you for Pokemon, but no, you don't die when they attack you.
0 out of 10, worst game ever.
I believe you just faint. You black out, and then you are probably magically restored to the last
Pokemon Center.
Pokemon Center or some other whatever equivalent this game has. I have chosen as a bit of a cheat. Record of Lodoss War, Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth. And you may recall that I have already chosen this game.
Right.
But it is now coming to Nintendo Switch on January 28th. Record of Lodoss War, Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth is a 2D action-adventure game based on Record of Lodoss War. Immerse yourself in the gorgeous pixel animations, use a variety of weapons, and the power of elemental spirits on your journey to solve the arcane mysteries of the labyrinth. And as a person who has finished this game already, I'd say it's definitely worth a playthrough. I really enjoyed it a lot. It is
How about on the Switch?
Well,
do you think it'll run well on the Switch?
Oh yeah, it'll run well on the Switch. Yeah. Okay. It's simple enough. It's not doing anything like wildly advanced. It's just a really pretty pixel art style game with some neat effects, but
So you mean I have to be online on my Switch to play this game? It's not going to be like Dying Light and all those other games.
I can't make no guarantees. Buy yourself the cartridge. The box art is really pretty, man. The box art. Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of Dying Light 2, of course, on the morning show earlier this week, Burly and I, we were talking about, of course, the Switch version of Dying Light 2 has been delayed.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. The streaming. Nonsense. I can't. I don't know why anybody would buy a streaming game on and I guess that's all the entire platform for Stadia, but that's why Stadia is not successful.
One of many reasons why Stadia is not successful.
Right. Okay, so it's time to move on to our Game Pass passageway. So, Carl, we had Danganronpa that came out earlier and this week, and of course, Rainbow Six Extraction and the Hitman trilogy, which I've downloaded and I started playing Danganronpa. That's fun to get into again. Danganronpa, yep. So, there's one other game coming before the end of this month, and what is it?
Extra, why don't you take it away? Okay, this one is more up your alley.
All right.
You're gonna say the name right. You know something about this franchise. You might as well.
Okay, so the game is coming out on January 27th for console and PC. Taiko no Tatsujin. So Taiko no Tatsujin is basically a taiko drum rhythm beat game. So you kind of think of Guitar Hero for guitars and all that. Well, in Japan, the taiko drum is a traditional drum. They're usually very, very big, but in this case, in Japan, in arcades around the country, you have like a drum that's set up to an arcade machine with two sticks, and you're just boom, 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 to the beats. And Taiko no Tatsujin was originally also on the Wii and on the Wii U. Well, now it's coming to Game Pass. So, on the 27th. So is that good enough for you, Carl?
Yeah. I mean, I can't use my Donkey Kong bongo drums with it, right? That's sad.
No.
That's
two sticks and a little drum.
Come on, Microsoft, figure this out.
Can I use my Rock Band drums with this?
I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Yeah. The Xbox version. Who knows? Yeah, but.
And now with the Activision acquisition,
just
Guitar
give
Hero
a little bit of time. He'll make the
right.
Official Xbox Guitar Hero accessories.
Yeah.
Compatible with this game that I can't say the name of.
All right. So before we end the episode, I just want to let all of you know, of course, our morning show, of course, that Burly and I do Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Runs on Twitter and on Twitch and YouTube. So please check out our sites for that. So we talk about all of the new gaming news that comes out for that particular day, except for the Xbox acquisition of Activision Blizzard that came like 20 minutes after we had finished the episode, so we had to do it the next day. But anyway, so yeah, our morning show comes out on weekdays, so check that out. And on our Patreon and of course on YouTube, our Star Wars Republic, the latest episode of the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 4, as we record this episode, should be now up on YouTube at youtube.com/The Arena Productions. So please check that out as well. So, and of course, our other co-host here, Turn-Based Carl, on the morning show. He's with us most of the days of the week in the chat because, of course, he has baby duty, but he's with us in spirit, of course. So, yeah.
Giving you guys a hard time, you know.
Of course, as usual. Yeah.
And giving us some facts when we actually do need them. We do got to give Carl credit on that because we're like, because I'm well known for talking out my ass on some shit.
My head's full of a lot of worthless knowledge, but in this case, it has value.
What some might call worthless knowledge, we call helpful.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, so it's time to talk about what we're going to be playing and streaming this coming week. I'm gonna play more of Horizon: The Frozen Wilds. Probably play some more of that. Nobody Saves the World and Danganronpa. I'll be playing more of that. So, Carl, what are you going to be playing this coming week?
I'm gonna stream Pokemon Legends Arceus to bite on Burly's, viewers.
Ooh.
Ooh. You want a war on stream, and I'm loving this.
I do not have the means to stream any sort of Switch nonsense. I don't know how you would do that, especially since I have a Switch Lite. So
Get him, Burly.
Oh, you don't have a capture card? You got to Switch Life?
Can't even do it.
You lose, sir. Good day.
I'm going to play...
Good day. What are you playing, man?
I intend to finish Dead Space 3, I hope, this week.
Dead Space 3. Cool. Mm-hmm.
And then I will pick something new. I don't know what.
Okay. Maybe Death's Door is also out. Maybe you should try that on Game Pass.
Yeah. It's not really my kind of a game. I mean, I think what I have installed that I wanted to try. I mean, there's Hitman. I could go back to play some more Mass Effect. There's what's the one? The Forbidden City? Is that was called?
The Forbidden City, yeah.
I should really try that.
Or the game that you picked last week for releases.com.
Expeditions Rome,
Expeditions Rome, yeah.
Which reviewed well. It looks good.
Yeah.
I just I don't want to spend the money on it. So,
okay.
It looks good. I do want to play it, but I'm just not gonna spend the money.
So maybe later on, yeah. So.
Yeah. Hades.
Burly.
Hades is sitting on my Xbox. That poor sad game.
There you
Never
go.
gets touched. It's been a long time.
Touch it. Burly, what are you playing this week? Let me guess. Something that deals with Satoshi. And, yeah. You know who Satoshi is, right?
Nani?
Come on, man.
I think that's a cryptocurrency.
Yeah. No, that's the name of my NFTs. I'm sorry.
No. Okay, so Burly, who's the name of the main Pokemon boy in the West? What do they call him? Ash.
Ash?
Yeah, that's not his real name. His real name's Satoshi.
We call him Ash.
That's his name in Japan. Yeah. Scrap that. It's Satoshi. So
because Ash is such a traditional American name, right?
Yeah, like Satoshi is a traditional Japanese name, which is the original name of the Pokemon. Yeah,
they got that right.
Character. Yeah, but anyway, Burly, you're going to be playing Pokemon, right?
Oh yeah, well that's
Pokemon Legends.
That's when Friday comes because Friday, Saturday, Sunday I'm going to be streaming the hell out of that. But for the next couple of days, it's finish off Frozen Wilds and then finish Persona 5 Strikers. tomorrow I'm streaming Strikers. Really having fun with that.
Awesome.
Do we know, are review copies going out for Pokemon Legends? Like, I'm wondering, are we going to see reviews like in the middle of the week, or are we not going to see that until it's out?
Nintendo's weird with their reviews, sending out review copies. I think because the game has leaked so hard now and copies are out on eBay, I think soon we'll get reviews, but you never know. Nintendo, we could not get the reviews of the game till the game comes out, or a day or two after, because Nintendo is Nintendo.
Okay, so I just want to mention one thing about our content here. The post show, we're not going to be doing a post show this week because, of course, this is a long episode. We've got a lot of other stuff. The post show will be back from next week. So, just wanted to let all of you know out there. So we will have a post show next week for you all. So, this was a long one, of course, with the Activision Blizzard acquisition by Microsoft. So we wanted to spend a lot of time talking on that. So this regular episode of the podcast was extended this week. So we shall have
over 2 hours. They can tell by the runtime.
Exactly. Right. So we shall have a post show for you next week. So stay tuned for that. So to end the episode, our indie recording artist spotlight. So this week's spotlight is on 2050. 2050 is an independent electronic band with a diverse and complex futuristic sound, founded in 2018 by Nurbin Ami and Rami Shalom. With varied musical backgrounds and influences that range from underground techno to house to pure electronica. The duo's vision focuses on analog gear and sound aesthetics. From their album titled Neon Skies, and the song is called Game Over. This has been The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, episode 70. I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burly of Burlyman Gaming on Twitch and Turn-Based Carl. We hope to catch you in the next one. So take care, everyone. Peace out.